Right. Well, let me just finish off at this stage. We're going to take a 2-hour break then before the second session this afternoon, European time. Let's hear some closing thoughts from Bosch's Managing Director.
How can we take climate action? It's not as simple a question as it looks. We see the call to action every day in global climate conferences, political speeches, student demonstrations, glossy advertising campaigns, academic papers, and corporate literature. But talking about the need to reduce CO2 emissions isn't action in itself. All this does is demonstrate the growing pressure for action, pressure the actions themselves are unlikely to keep up with. The result is disillusionment and, in many cases, despair. In fact, according to the Global Carbon Energy Project, global CO2 emissions have risen to record levels. Emission growth is slowing down, but it has yet to reach its peak. It's very tempting to shift responsibility for this. We could shift it into the future and hold off tackling the problem for now, leaving it to our successors to grapple with an even larger challenge. We could play the blame game, shifting responsibility onto other people. That industry or that country emits more CO2, they should be the focus instead. But ultimately, this blame game helps no one and is all a pointless diversion. Climate change is a global problem, and we all need to contribute to its solution. Fundamentally, anyone who wants to do something about climate change, instead of just talking about it, has to answer 3 key questions. Why not here? Why not now? Why not me? And this is exactly what the targets set out in the Paris Climate Agreement demand. By 2100, global warming must be limited to 2 degrees Celsius and, if possible, to 1.5 degrees. In the UK, it is now law that we achieve net zero emissions by 2050. The EU has a similar ambition. What does this mean for Bosch? We're a global industrial concern with 410,000 associates in 60 countries on 6 continents. In 2018, we had a global energy consumption of 7.8 terawatt-hours, which is about the same as the annual electricity consumption of Northern Ireland. The same year, we emitted 3.3 million metric tons of CO2. And so, as a global industrial concern with the carbon footprint of a small country, we asked ourselves the questions: why not here? Why not now? Why not us? In our case, we decided we would set ourselves a target for CO2 neutrality, not just in the future, not by 2050, not by 2030, but by 2020. We gave ourselves just over a year to make the change. Why not? It's a question our founder Robert Bosch would have liked. He was passionate about nature, resource conservation, and sustainable practices. Bosch hated waste in all forms, whether of human life, resources, or potential. He was famous for patrolling his factory in the evenings and giving a hard time to employees who left the lights on when they left the room. So, were we successful in becoming carbon neutral by 2020? Yes. My colleague Torsten Kalveit, Bosch Global Head of Sustainability, will go into more detail about this later today. But by focusing on energy efficiency, buying more green electricity, generating our own renewable energy, and investing in certified green projects to offset unavoidable CO2 emissions, at least for now, we were able to reduce our CO2 footprint to 0 in just over a year. If we can do it, so can you. And if you'd like us to help, get in touch. There's still much more to do. By 2030, we want to save another 1.7 terawatt-hours, more than 1/5 of our current annual consumption, and as much as the annual electricity use of a city like Liverpool. We're now focusing on driving down emissions in our supply chain, in our products, helping the decarbonization of transport, domestic heat, and decentralized energy sectors through the use of the Internet of Things and the deployment of hydrogen technology. Successful companies need to make upfront investment in research and development. In future business, in other words, it's exactly the same on emissions reduction. Few things are more fundamental to future business than the future of our planet. Climate action makes business sense. So, once again, why not here? Why not now? And why not you?
The Managing Director of Bosch, Vonjy Rajakoba. Thanks very much indeed for that, and we heard from Torstein right at the top of this session. I can share with you my feeling, my personal feeling, that what we're seeing is the enormity of the dynamics that are building. The momentum is there, the accelerator is happening. We aren't there yet, but there are many significant commitments, even if there are frustrations from the International Energy Agency, that really, even with every commitment that's been made, it's nothing like what is needed to achieve net zero, hopefully by 2030, 2040. But what we're seeing and what we're hearing is a degree of optimism. There's a dynamism, there's an energy, there's a commitment which is building, whether in finance or elsewhere. Interesting to hear in a few months whether there has been significant impact after what Lord Adair Turner said about the need to literally cap and stop producing methane, particularly from the hydrocarbon industries, and also the same with coal. So what we're hearing there is commitment, and I was very struck by what we were hearing from the Portuguese government, the current presidency of the European Union, and also from the US Energy Secretary's office, that actually things are moving amazingly fast. I'm surprised they have time to even write all the decisions that they are taking and the speed at which things are being implemented 127 days into the Biden administration. So that's where we're moving. We can feel the energy change underway. There's still a lot to be done, and we'll try and build on that in a couple of hours when you return after the break for session 2, a decade of innovation. First up, we'll be joined by the Chief Executive of Ofgem, which in the United Kingdom is the regulator for the gas and oil industry, and also from the gas and electricity industry, and also the chair of the Carbon Trust, Baroness Brown. Then a discussion on grid flexibility and digitization. Finally, we have Microsoft and NL for a future look at smart grids, which are going to be so vital for all the power that's going to have to be winging around, providing us with the electricity that we need to do so much, which is now expected in the net zero solution. A reminder that while we're on the break, the virtual platform will remain open, so you can network, you can meet the partners at our virtual expo, you can set up meetings with other attendees, complete the survey and give us your feedback, and share your thoughts with hashtag Climate Action Live, all one word, hashtag Climate Action Live. I look forward to seeing you back here in a couple of hours. Have a good break, have a breather, get away from the screen if necessary, or speak to whoever you're able to meet as an attendee of the Transition Summit. Back in 2 hours and 5 minutes. Bye-bye.